Hello, this is Peter Stewart. Welcome to today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice. And today we're looking at, continuing our journey on to pronunciations, but also how to write a pronunciation phonetically to make it easier for you or somebody else to say. It all fits in with the whole voice and presentation theme of the podcast. Now, obviously, when I'm explaining different markings up, as I will be in a few days' time, and also about pronunciations and how you write words and so on, then some of this is going to be a bit difficult for me to explain verbally. So do check in the show notes as well, because in the show notes I'm going to be putting some of those examples. And also in the future, because I'm writing these ahead of time, so also in the future we are going to be looking at set texts, and the text that we're going to be looking at and deconstructing will be repeated in the show notes. So do make sure that you actually click through to those as well. So obviously one of the easiest ways to write a word phonetically is to break it down into syllables, clearly indicating any inflection or run-on sounds. For example, and here we go, aluminium in the UK might be written as al, you, and then minium. Yeah, look in the show notes to see how I've broken that up with the run-on indicated at the end of the word with the apostrophe M. Be careful if you write that a word rhymes with something, because in doing so, you may be presuming to know how the reader's accent is going to be interpreting that other word. Okay? Sounds a bit complicated. Let me give you an example. Okay. A good friend of mine shares the same name, the first name anyway, Peter, and then the surname Bough. So either think of how that word may be written down, or look in the show notes, or write that out yourself if you've got pen and paper to hand. Bough. How would you say that? Now, it would be pointless to write Bough rhymes with B-O-W, wouldn't it? Because if you think about it, B-O-W itself could be pronounced as in bow, bow of a ship, or bow of a tree. Or B-O-W could actually be pronounced as in bow, as in a bow in your hair. B-O-W, bow. And actually, the surname could in fact be B-U-F-F. It could be Peter Buff, or Bow, or Bow. Yeah, so you've got to be really careful if you're just writing a rhymes with. And also be careful to use K, the letter K, for a hard C sound, to differentiate it from the soft C sound. So if you were writing the word cafe, obviously we all know how to say the word cafe, but just as an example, you would write K-A-F-A-Y. Yeah? Where the K-A-F is probably written in capital letters. Cafe. Or K-A-F-A-Y, where the A-Y is written in capital letters. Cafe. Yeah? Because then your capitalisation tells people what bit of the word to stress a little bit more heavily than the non-capitalised parts of the word. If you just wrote C-A-F-A-Y, it could be misinterpreted as Safe. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Now, obviously, as I say, we know how to say the word cafe. I'm just using this as an example. So use the hard K sound, the K for the hard K sound, the kicking K, as I think they call it, when they're teaching kids how to read. Now, as you all know, as I've just said from those examples, capitalise parts of the word which need to be lifted or emphasised. So if you were writing that huge cathedral-like church in London, you would be stressing and capitalising the middle three letters of Westminster, yeah, west-MIN-ster, not all in lowercase Westminster. Or all in capitalisations might persuade someone that you have to say Westminster, yeah, where all of the syllables are equally emphasised. It would obviously be horrendous to write horrendous when it's more properly spoken horrendous. dus. Again, look in the show notes to see how I've broken up some of those words that I've just been talking about today. Alternatively, of course, or additionally to a written pronunciation, you could send the script reader an audio clip on how the word should be pronounced. Tomorrow in the podcast, episode 145, word blindness, as Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.